Hola, soy Estefanía Vázquez y me encuentro en el Hotel Radisson, en esta ocasión en el Nextel Congress, un congreso en el que líderes nacionales e internacionales exponen sus ideas sobre diferentes aspectos y de cómo mejorar tu empresa a través de sus ideas. En esta ocasión les presento a Simon Mainwaring, una persona líder en ideas sobre redes sociales, que nos va a explicar en cómo es que las redes sociales afectan cada área de tu vida, personal, laboral, en marketing y empresarial. Vamos a conocerlo.
You know, I'm a long-time advertising guy. I worked in Australia, I worked in the UK, and I worked in the United States for the last 12 years on brands like Nike and Coca-Cola and these sorts of things. And I want to assure you, I'm a traditional media guy. And so when social media came along, I was very skeptical. I wasn't sure that these things like Facebook and Twitter were really going to be that important for marketing and business.
But then 4 or 5 years ago, I saw this new thing coming along called social media.
And then I decided to write a book about social media, and only then did I really start to discover how profound it was going to be. And this was in 2008, before President Obama was elected, before the Arab Spring revolutions, before Occupy Wall Street, before what we're seeing in the Mexican election right now.
And so I decided to answer that challenge and look at social media and see how they could make the world a better place. And that led to the book We First that came out last year. And now I work with large companies, helping them define what they stand for, tell that story in ways that build their business, but also drive social change.
What were the bases in which you settled to write this book? Which are that special points that affect everything, business, personal life?
Well, firstly, the vision of We First, the book, there's 3 parts. The first part is that because social media allows you and me to talk to a company, companies and their customers are now in partnership. And so the second part of the book is something I call contributory consumption, which means when you buy something, a small part of it goes towards a cause that is in alignment with the core values of that brand. And then the third part of it is that companies must now work together, even if they're competitors, to help scale social change. Because without that, we're not going to address the challenges we face.
At the same time, in America, there is a new rise of customer activism. If Arab Spring revolutions was citizen activism, there's now customer activism.
So it's amazing. It's like giving people who never had a voice, citizens, customers, and even young people, a voice through these tools. And that's why it's changing everything.
A few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago in the United States, a lot of people made the mistake of assuming that social media was just for the young. And I know that there's a bit of a perception here in Mexico in that the older generations, like myself, we didn't grow up with this.
I think this model laid out in the book We First is applicable to every country, but in different ways, because different countries have different access to technology.
The social media has defined, has changed the way of consuming politics. It has been a very important factor in these elections that we'll have in less than a month.
Yes.
Do you think that social media can define a vote now and in the future?
I think social media can very much define politics now and in the future for 2 reasons. One, it's a very cost-effective way for politicians to reach a large number of people. And then secondarily, they've just talked about in the United States the ability of people to text a donation to a political party.
What would be your advice to the normal citizen in applying the social media to their lives?
I think my advice to a regular person in terms of social media is to use that new connectivity for good, in the sense that a lot of times people look at new technology and they want to make money out of it at the cost of other people. But in the case of social media, it allows you to connect with people around what you care about.